All right, let me get at y'all right quick. Why sex needs to be separate from every other aspect of your relationship. Again, why sex needs to be separate from every other aspect of your relationship. So I'll use this parallel or this analogy to illustrate the point I'm trying to make. So hypothetically speaking, let's say, you pushing a whip, you hit an intersection, right? You hit a stoplight, and let's say a homeless dude, he come out with the squeegee and the Windex, he hit your windshield up, you give him a couple dollars, right? So let's say a week or so later, a week or two perhaps, same thing. You hit the intersection, same dude come out with the squeegee and the Windex, hit the windshield up, you give him a couple dollars. So what has happened now is you and this homeless person, y'all have established somewhat of a symbiotic relationship where it's literally an exchange of goods and services. He hits your windshield up with the Windex and the squeegee, you give him a couple dollars, right? So let's say for the sake of argument, a couple weeks later, again, you hit the intersection up, boom. Now you see the same guy, but he don't have the squeegee and the Windex. He just standing on a corner with a sign, right? In all likelihood, right, exceptions aside, in all likelihood, you might not give him a couple dollars then. Because now you have been conditioned based on your previous interactions that the relationship that you guys have is based on a bartering system or an exchange of goods and services. He does this for you, you give him a couple dollars. What happens a lot of times in relationships, that's exactly what happens with sex, right? It's on a bartering system where it's an exchange of goods and services. The services is the woman basically providing you sexual favors. The goods could be you taking her out. It could be you taking her out on trips. It could be you paying for shit, right? That type of thing, right? So what happens is the relationship that you have with the woman, when a woman is controlling sex or she's controlling access to her sexually by having you jump through hoops, right? By having you do things first for her. Now the sex and those things that she's requiring that you do before you get to the sex, they become tied as one, right? They become woven together. So now, if you don't do those things you were doing before to get to the sex stops, right? Proof of this is when you see videos, specifically on YouTube, where you've literally heard guys say, yeah, man, my girl, she ain't let her brother hit in a couple weeks. We ain't had sex in a couple weeks. So I went to her and I'm like, yo, what's up? What's up with the sex? We ain't been busy, in a little while. What's going on with you? And a woman will say some things like, well, I don't feel like you're really paying me attention. You're not servicing my emotions. I don't feel like you take me out enough. I don't feel like my needs are being met. I don't feel like we're taking enough trips. We're just not, you're not doing the things you used to do. So what will the guy say? He'll end up taking her out on a trip or two or whatever, and then the sex returns. And then what happens is the guy will say, then after about a month, it goes right back to the same thing, where the woman ain't letting dude smash, or she ain't coming to the dude and letting them know, she want to get busy, right? And that happens now because she made you wait for sex. You allowed her to control the sex. Now, you have to do things first, right, to get her to come off the sex. It literally becomes a symbiotic relationship where the sex you guys have is not based on sexual attraction. It's not based on sexual chemistry. It's literally based on a transaction or a bartering system. If you want access to me sexually, I'm going to need for you to provide this first. This is why sex needs to be sex needs to be completely separate from every other aspect of your life. A real quick example is there's times I've gotten into relationships and the woman was mad at me or flustered or frustrated with me about something, right? And we were still fucking, right? It didn't matter that she was upset or irritated or whatever it was. Her thing is, I'm not going to deprive myself of some good dick. You know, like that. But see, when you're dealing with a woman who is, one, sexually attracted to you, and she actually enjoys you sexually, meaning you guys have sexual chemistry, even if she's upset with you, she is not going to restrict access to her sexually. Because for her, that part of you guys' relationship is separate from everything else. Okay, I've told you guys, okay, and I'm not proud of this. I've said this before. I'm not proud of the fact that I used to be a cheater and I cheated in past relationships, right? You know, I'm not about that action now. I let women know straight up they're sharing me. So, you know, a woman ain't got to worry about me cheating because I don't do the sexual exclusivity thing, right, at this juncture in my life, right? But the point is, I don't condone nor do I advocate cheating. But when I was younger and I was cheating, when the woman I was dealing with found out that I was creeping or that I might be creeping, she never stopped having sex with me, right? She never stopped. Because her thing is, I'm hurt, I'm mad, I'm pissed that you're dealing with this other woman over here or this other woman over there, but I still want that dick though. I still want you to fuck me though, right? I'm just mad at you, you know, and I might express my anger or my hostilities towards you in other ways, but I'm not going to restrict access to me sexually because I want that dick. You know what I'm saying? So I said all that to say this, back to what I said earlier. Sex has to be completely separate from other parts of your life, right? Because one thing that you cannot have women who want you to be in a sexually exclusive relationship with them, but yet they're bartering sex with you, right? Do this first, then you'll get that, right? Or they're rationing sex to you, right? You cannot have women controlling sex under no circumstances. This is why I tell you guys, when you very first meet women, keep it casual, keep it purely sexual, because you need to see how invested is the woman in playing her position, the role that you place her in. If you basically tell her, look, I ain't trying to do anything but this. Like basically, you're going to be my new fuck buddy. You know, you're going to be my new lover. Beyond that, I make no promises, but this is what we going to do for the foreseeable future. You need to see how invested she is when it comes to doing shit your way at your pace, right? And allowing you to quarterback it, allowing you to lead the situation and basically dictate how shit gonna go down. You need to see how invested she is and basically playing that role for as long as you want her to play that role, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months even, and you guys are just fucking, right? If she's playing her position and she ain't complaining and she ain't bitching and she ain't making all these requirements of you, and you literally have access to her sexually pretty much anytime you want, at the frequency you want, and you ain't got to spend no money, you ain't got to do none of that shit, in all likelihood, exceptions aside, this is a woman where if you got in a relationship with her sometime in the future, she will not weaponize sex against you to get you to do what she wants, simply because in the beginning, she dealt with you on your terms. And she never tried to control the sex or withhold the sex. Y'all got it? I'm out.